Former Maryville Scot, Donnie Moore. Former UT coach, Ray Trail. From the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons. And Troy Pro O'Haron.
Hello, everybody, and greetings from the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. I'm Mike Edwards, along with Donnie Moore, Troy Provo O'Haron, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Coach Ray Trail. And this is the Goatee Sports Page. UT football brings down the curtain on the regular season, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card, sponsored by Blunt Partnership. It's the University of Tennessee Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Klein Dental Arts SEC Notebook, with volunteer football coaching legend Ray Trail, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo O'Haron, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons. Also, Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli will be with us. Today, we'll look back on Tennessee's outstanding football season and throw in some UT basketball. Donnie Moore will announce high school scores from around the area, and then mark it down with Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by the Mandy Beach B Street Realty, features Heritage Girls Basketball. Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo O'Haron unveils the Anderson Lumber Company High School Player of the Week. William Blunt head basketball coach Kevin Wendell will join Troy. Donnie Moore and the panel discuss sports headlines from around the country before the Tennessee Smokies spotlight shines on the NCAA college football playoffs and some of the top conference championship games from across the land. And finally, the panel gives their shelter insurance bold college football predictions for the week. And now it's time for the UT Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Klein Dental Arts SEC Notebook, featuring former UT coach Ray Trail, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo O'Haron, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons. Carson Newman, assistant football coach Tony Iruli, is also on board. Before we get into the Vols' outstanding football season, let's talk a little Tennessee basketball here. The Vols' record now stands at 6-1. They're ranked 13th in the nation, and this past week they beat McNeese State 76-40. They're in a span here where they're playing. They've played McNeese. They've got Alcorn State tomorrow, Eastern Kentucky next Wednesday. Troy, before they get Maryland, number 22 Maryland, up in Brooklyn, New York. Cupcake week for the Vols, so to speak. But every school in the country has those games, and I guess after coming away with a big victory down in the Bahamas, I guess they've earned it, huh?
Mike, I like to argue with you about, games like this and, they're still important to somebody and whatnot or whatever. And I texted you earlier during that game and I said I'd take it all back. Somebody needs to have a talk with Rick Barnes about why that game was scheduled. That is the worst team that has come to Knoxville, maybe in any sport, in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
It ranks right up there with Iona baseball last fall. It was the last spring. It was terrible. Yeah. That team stunk.
Yeah, I long for the old days when we go through these stretches, Coach Trail, and with football and basketball, and we've talked about this before. When you played 10 football games back in your day, you'd have an opener that would not be maybe as challenging as some of the other games. Then you got right into it. Basketball the same way. You played a 25-game slate. Then they go to 30-some games, and this is what you get. Everybody thought, when they first said they could do that, they thought, they're going to get some really good games, and then you get a lot of these throwaway games, so to speak.
They ruined the game, far as I'm concerned. I don't understand how you sell tickets to those kind of games, and they expect people to go over and buy the tickets, and then you schedule 4 or 5 of those
meaningless
games, and then they tie the tickets all together where you can't go to get this ticket unless you buy this ticket.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. I don't understand why you don't play decent people on every weekend.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing about it, Marcus Fitzsimmons. They bundle. They have a basketball bundle where you buy. They don't bundle any of these games, so to speak. Well, they might have 1 or 2 of them in there. I don't know. But they're not just bundling these cupcake games.
Yeah.
They could call it the cupcake bundle if they wanted to. I don't have any of those schedules they was on.
I think it wouldn't be bad if they kind of would spread it out through the season, but when you have like 3 or 4 in a row like that, you really that the whole week.
This is pretty much it before they get into Maryland and they're getting pretty close to conference
This is
play.
just because you all have been out of school for so long. I've been out of school for a while, but I still remember this time of year. you don't know what you're going to get from those kids. They've got finals going on. They've come back from holidays. They've got stuff that's due. I mean, they are still students theoretically. So,
Theoretically.
yeah, if you're going to put cupcakes in, you put them in when you can afford to have, because you know you're going to have guys having off nights because they're going to hopefully have some academic stuff on their
I'm
heads.
all in for a cupcake. Don't schedule the 9th worst team in the country. I mean, if you want to schedule,
Just because they're bad doesn't
Look,
mean they don't deserve to play somebody.
If you want to, they should go play Mississippi Valley State or something. If you want to play the 210th ranked team in the country, fine. I'm okay with it. If you want to go play Lamar or something, that's fine. You know, that's not. Am I saying it's going to be great competition? No, but it'll at least look like a basketball team that shouldn't be playing over at Maryville High School or something like that. That's where McNeese State should have been playing the other night, at Maryville High School. They were terrible.
Well, let's talk about the big news, Tennessee basketball, that came about last week, and that's the future with the ACC, Troy, and the SEC Challenge, which is going to begin next year. Is that
Yes.
correct? Next year. I think that's a step in the right direction. Good basketball league, great basketball league over there in the ACC. Hopefully Tennessee will get North Carolina or Duke, maybe in that game. Right now they're tied. I think the ACC is tied to the Big Ten. They're going through that phase there, but it's going to be the ACC and SEC next year. That's exciting news, I think.
It's a huge step up for the SEC in terms of the quality of
Yeah.
thing. Like, no disrespect to the Big 12, but they have Texas, and then really, who else do you have as like a
And
national power
How
that
long
you
are
feel
you
good about?
like? You're on a clock because you can't keep that one going
Right,
because,
because they joined the
Texas and
SEC.
Oklahoma are moving and they're not going to have enough teams.
Yeah. And the Lady Vols up their record to 4-4. They beat Eastern Kentucky 105-71. They've got number 9 Virginia Tech tomorrow at home.
It's a
That
loss.
game's at 1 o'clock over in the arena. And then they play, they're in the cupcake. They got Chattanooga, Wright State, Central Florida, all three there
Well,
in the
see,
row.
Chattanooga's a team that's
There-
beaten the
there's
Lady
no
Vols.
such thing.
I know.
There's no such thing as a cupcake for the Lady Vols. They don't know what colored jersey they wear,
okay.
Mike, so they should have played McNeese
All
State.
right. Well, they got Chattanooga, Wright State, Central Florida come up, and all three of those should be winnable games. Now, I think last year Central Florida, gave them a pretty good game down there
They did.
last year, and so we'll see what happens. But after that, Coach Trail, they go to number 2 Stanford.
Oh,
Hello.
yes, wake up.
Hello out there. So,
Yeah.
and that's going to be a national 3 o'clock game on ABC on the
They
18th.
better
of-
get a little better right quick.
A little better? Better get a lot better, Ray. A little better's not going to get the job
You
done.
know, I was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
A little better turns a 40-point loss into a 30-point loss. They better get a lot better.
And that's hard to do, trying to be nice.
Yeah.
You know, you're coming a long ways. You're getting better.
Yeah, it's holiday season.
He's trying.
He's trying, still trying.
Hey, Tony, last time I'm going to get you in here.
Yeah.
Now, last Saturday night, the Tennessee Vols defeated Vanderbilt 56-0. They went in as a 14-point favorite. I don't know.
Told you, Ray.
I don't know. Vanderbilt
I told you.
didn't want to play in the rain, had enough for the season. I don't know, but they just never got out of the gate.
Yeah,
huh?
you know, they come off of, you know, for them, 2 great wins against Kentucky and against Florida, and you would think they'd be having some momentum going into the Tennessee game because the Tennessee game, in fact, is their sort of their Super Bowl type of game, and they just laid a big egg.
They really did.
It was
They
not
really did.
competitive, and you know, the best thing was when the clock finally turned to 0 in the fourth quarter.
I was really surprised it wasn't more of a game. I mean, they came off beating Kentucky and Florida.
That's what I thought, too.
and 2 respectable
You know,
teams. with
I felt like
personnel.
Tennessee was
not.
going to win, but I just didn't think it would be
Yeah,
that type of.
The only
You know who
person on
did?
the show
Was
that
that-
Troy.
You know who did?
Yeah, you thought they would just. Of course, you thought they would kill everybody all year. You're the same guy that thought they'd kill South
did.
Carolina. You
did.
got the kill right. You just got on the wrong side.
Yeah, but it was a week too early.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
we'll give you credit.
I don't know what anybody was thinking on Saturday. That was just a complete overreaction to beating Kentucky and Florida. Those 2 teams aren't good. Like, they're just not good football teams. So cool, you beat 2 bad football teams, and you had to go play a good one. They got a wake-up call.
And that was really a home game for them, Coach Trail, over in Nashville.
Yeah.
a lot of orange over there.
yeah.
They buy the tickets and they come in there. Let's talk a little bit about Joe Milton, Tony. Looks like he's going to be I would say the starter next year. He's got to
Bazooka
be the
Joe.
guy to.
Bazooka, let it fly.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about his arm strength. And,
Load it up in the arm cannon and let it fly.
yeah, and you know, he's had this past year and a half to sit back and watch, observe, understand the offensive system, and so I'm excited about him. And these last 2 games are really
Yeah.
kind of his what's the right word?
His rehearsal.
rehearsal, right? For the starting
Yeah.
position
Well,
for next year.
Coach Trail, in the words of Bob Euchre, he threw 8 balls last week that were just a little bit long to receivers. I know Troy likes him, but, it's not the punt, pass, and kick contest. We know he can throw it a long way,
Yeah.
but accuracy is a problem with Joe Milton.
I'll tell you what, their number one quarterback in the country is coming in next year, isn't that right?
Yeah, the $8 million guy.
Yeah, I mean, Milton better enjoy what he's got because the real guy is coming next year.
I don't even think we really got a good. I think we saw Milton in the first half get excited with some of the opportunities he was seeing down the field and overthrow him again. But we never got to see him make any adjustments because there was no chance for him to even throw the ball in the second half. His first plays were going for 80-yard runs.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. They ran for 362 yards, 31 carries. That's 11.7 yards per carry. You really don't need a passing game when you run the ball like that. So in all fairness to him,
But I think there were 3-4 drives that it was the very first snap was a run play and it went for 60+ yards.
But to be honest with you, I didn't see any improvement in Joe Milton than I saw when he played against Pittsburgh the first time he played here.
Yeah.
He was overthrowing people just as bad as he did in that game, that Pittsburgh game. And this is the first start he's had since Pittsburgh. Of course, we got the bowl game coming up. We'll see how
And
that
that's going to
turns
be a
out. But
big test for him.
Absolutely. He's either going to have to lighten up a little bit, or they're going to have to get some speed in their receivers over there.
Yeah.
They're going to have
They're
to
gonna
put
have
it up a gear.
Lengthen the field just a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you take the snap 20 yards back? Do we have a center that can do that?
You could
a
run.
long
You could run.
snapper.
You could run the shotgun out
I
of the
told-
punt
Yeah,
All you gotta
formation.
do
Not a bad
is
idea
Put him
right
in
there.
punt formation.
Put him in
I
punt
told
formation,
Troy
let it
last
fly.
week, I said, here's the answer. When Tennessee comes on the field, you just put a football out there. It's got no air in it. Absolutely no air in the football at all, and say, okay, throw it, And he'll probably still throw it 35, 40 yards.
Well, that's why I say you line up in the punt formation and put him back there.
Got about 15 extra. You got about 15
Yeah.
extra yards
Yeah.
of wiggle space to him, and you don't have to worry about getting sacked.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
You never have to worry about sacked.
He's almost like the movie Forrest Gump, where Forrest is running down into the end zone and they're keeping him back from running out of the stadium. And it's like, Joe, lighten up a little bit. Somebody needs to be up back there going, just lighten up with the hands. Lighten up just a little bit.
I tell you what.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the
But
ball.
he has no touch. It's all you can say.
Yeah,
He has
well,
no touch.
And evidently he practices really well, Tony,
Yeah.
because, everything you hear about him is,
You don't hear
know,
anything negative about him or anything like that. He's been a team guy.
Yes.
After losing the position last year, but this is his dress rehearsal for next season. Did you get that gnat out of your face? I bet you smacked the heck out
It's
of it.
that rainy weather in here. Those gnats are
He
bad.
had a little bit. I think when we've seen him in mop-up, he's shown a little bit better touch with the receivers he practices with.
Yeah.
But when you put him out there with that first-string group,
Yeah.
it was just like they were getting so open. He was, that excitement level of this is it. This is what you look for.
Right,
And just over their
But
head.
it's like you said earlier, it's like Bob Euchre, just a little bit high and outside, just a little bit.
And you know what? We're probably going to have some fun with that.
Yeah,
next
the thing
year.
is, it's never underthrown.
No,
No,
underthrown.
no, he's never
Somebody's got to
Hey,
hit
I'll
his
say
arm.
this: you'd rather overthrow it than underthrow it. They ain't picking it off if you overthrow it.
No.
You're not turning it over if you overthrow it.
Hey,
it
there's
fly.
no doubt about it. This was a great year for Tennessee football. Josh Heupel's second year. They were 7-6 last year, and just outstanding. And you look back and you think, man, the way things turned out last night with Southern California.
Yeah.
If things had worked out at South Carolina, we would be sitting here thinking, hey, is this
No
going
doubt
to be
about
a
it.
3 or a 4
Sure.
in tomorrow's playoff show? But, that's been the disappointing part. But, Coach Trail, I've written some things down. The offense, I think, was outstanding. All kinds of passing records. Hendon Hooker, what a great year he had. A Heisman Trophy candidate most of the year. They beat Florida, Alabama, and LSU. Three great wins that set all this up. They've shown improvement since last year, really, in all areas. Running the football, receivers, offensive line, the defensive front at times this year, and special teams, I think, all showed improvement over last year. had a chance to make the college football playoffs, a chance to play in a major bowl now. Crowd support could not be any better than it is right now. It's on the rise. And confidence on first down, on third down situations when a lot of coaches would probably punt the ball or go for a field goal. Kind of remind me of the old Steve Spurrier days,
Yeah.
Coach Trail. We're not going for field goals we're going for first downs here, touchdowns.
Yeah.
We're going to line up and go after the 3 yards that we need here. And if it's on the 50-yard line, we'll go ahead and go. And that shows that you've got great confidence in your program and your kids, and kids have confidence in the coaching staff. And I think that was big too, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, it shows to me you have great confidence in your offense, and you don't want to let the other team have the ball because you don't have great confidence in your defense.
Right.
You know, I got to maintain the ball, and I think that's what really the way he was looking at it.
Yeah.
Remember, this was a team that we all were saying 7 wins,
8?
8, that'd be outstanding like that. No one was saying 10 wins, and you know,
Charlie was.
except for Charlie.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Play was all over it.
Yeah,
He was all over
He was-
it.
10-win
he knew
Charlie.
it.
10-win Charlie.
He knew it.
Yeah.
Got to give him credit where it's due.
Yeah.
But the way they put everything together, and he comes in, 30 guys transferred out, and he's made that program change totally within 2 years. I think that's just an outstanding job.
You can't. The only thing you can look back at, and we'll talk about a couple of them. I don't have many negatives down here at all, but I do have some
There's a big
minuses.
one.
But
Yeah.
Troy, I want to hand it to the athletic director and the whole staff over
Yeah.
there. The stadium and the light shows, the special effects, the fan friendly, all of that. They got to get some credit in all this too, huh?
Yeah, I think you have to. I think when you talk about Tennessee as a whole, when you look at how good basketball seems to be doing and how good baseball seems to be doing, how much football has turned around in 2 years, Danny White deserves a ton of credit for that, and especially given, who he replaced. And I've not sat here and been the kindest to Philip Fulmer. I'm not going to start right now. He's a terrible, terrible AD, and for Danny White to kind of take that job, fix a lot of things quickly, and make this program really, really respectable in terms of a national spotlight, he deserves a lot of credit, and he should.
And not
he
just
should
only
get it.
in football, but all the other sports
Yep.
they've got going on over there
Yeah,
too, baseball and
I mean,
everything else.
How many times has it been within a calendar year you could say Tennessee was ranked number 1 in 3 different men's sports, in power
Yes.
sports?
Yeah, good point. Good point. I wrote a couple of minuses down here. Of course, you think of 10-2, and it deserves a championship somewhere along the line. I think you were, of course, you had your opportunity,
Yeah.
but you didn't get it done down at Georgia. But they didn't win the Eastern Division or the SEC championship, even though they were playing for a playoff berth. And they're still Coach Trail, I think, a ways from Georgia.
Oh,
On
yeah.
the
Oh,
success
yeah.
level, don't you? I mean,
the
I
thing-
think they've caught up with everybody else right now in the SEC East, but I think they're still, even though we beat Alabama, Tennessee beat Alabama, I think Alabama and Georgia were still.
Yeah,
I
right
think
now
we've
the
cl- I
difference-
think we've closed
Yeah.
the cap on Alabama
Yeah.
some, but I don't know about Georgia.
Yeah, the defense is the big difference.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia's defense, is way above everyone in the country. Offensively, if you compare Tennessee's offense to Georgia's offense, I like where we are with Tennessee's offense being very productive. But Georgia's got the upper hand on everyone because of their defense.
Yeah. And Coach Trail, the defensive secondary, I think was disappointing this
Oh,
year.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you're
One
looking
game,
at
one
any-
game in specific,
Well-
more so than the others.
But the thing that I look at also is I don't think the conference this year as a whole was as good as it's been.
Yep.
Just go down
Well-
the list there. When you say Alabama gets beat, LSU gets beat, Florida gets beat.
But
I
they're not
mean,
losing to people outside the conference.
But
Well, I know that.
it's
But
a bad
but-
Florida team, but it beat Utah.
But if
yeah,
you look at the,
It's
if,
not
if
a great
you-
South Carolina team, but it beat Clemson.
If you look at the SEC, there's only about 3 teams that didn't have at least a 500
Right.
record.
Yeah.
There's just about 3. It's almost like pretty good teams, maybe above average or whatever
Yeah.
you want to put it in there, beating each other up, making for some pretty
Yeah.
good foot. I don't know how many conferences around the land can say, but about 3 teams
None of them.
are going to bowl games.
Yeah, none of
So
them.
Yeah.
I'm going to give the league a little bit of credit in that regard. But on the national scale, I don't know. You know, you look at Alabama, they lost 2 games on the last play, and you look at Tennessee, the big wins that they have, and you're thinking, well, you know, I'm looking at the 4 teams that's going to the playoffs, and there's 2 right there that's going to be left out.
Well, now the team that got beat, Southern Cal got beat last night. Are they going to the playoff?
No, they're done.
No,
They're done.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
done.
They're
not-
done.
They're done in the playoffs.
Oh, they just go to a bowl game.
They're
Yeah.
going to go to a bowl game, yeah. And
But,
then I had
but I'm just saying that the whole thing is getting to be a medium. You know what I'm saying? Very few of guys up here staying all the time. Since Alabama is at least shown they can be beat.
yeah.
And,
Well,
you look back and you say, okay, Alabama's lost, LSU's lost 3 times, and you know, I mean, everybody's getting a little bit better.
yeah. And you look at TCU, Tony, they were 5-7 last year.
Yeah.
Look at them, haven't lost a game.
Haven't lost a game.
Yeah,
and
they've been on the verge.
Yeah,
but
and,
they haven't been beaten yet.
Well,
so
I think everyone's just kind of waiting and hoping for TCU to lose because it's not in that elite sphere of
Yeah.
college teams. and-
Well, let me tell you
But
what.
you know,
if
if
it,
you're
if
the
it
small-
doesn't happen today, it'll happen around December 31st when they play Michigan because they ain't got no chance.
Okay.
Well, Michigan lost his running back.
That didn't hurt him against Ohio State.
right.
That didn't hurt him against Ohio State.
No, but he got hurt against Ohio
He got hurt the
State.
week before. He only touched the ball twice against Ohio State.
But I didn't know that.
Marcus,
But-
I've just got 2 other minuses on the year, and that the loss that they're going to remember a long time. That's a South Carolina loss. Unfortunately, it's going to be hung on this team's resume. It's always going to be, well, yeah. I mean, 20 years from now, they're going to be at reunion saying, yeah, you know, if we beat South Carolina,
It'll be on the gravestone.
we'd be on.
You know.
Yeah, it's going to be
It will
on there.
be,
It's going to
but
be on there.
but South Carolina took some of the sting out of themselves by turning around and beating Clemson.
Oh, that's
I
true.
think that
By
take
1
I think
point.
that takes some of the
One's
sting
better
out of
than-
it. But that went to Clemson and won at
Yeah.
Clemson,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is going to take some of the sting out of it because Clemson was supposedly a good team too.
Yeah,
That was-
it's
that was
South
fiction.
Carolina.
And
It's
while
been-
we're talking
they've been
about
hard to
them-
figure out all year long. How do you go down and get drilled by Florida by 38-6 and then beat Tennessee and Clemson back to back the next 2 weeks?
That's
I
that's
mean,
because the quarterback showed up.
Because
I
of Tim
guess.
Banks.
Quarterback showed up.
But and you know, we missed it when we talked about it because what we were thinking about. But we got to give some props out because you know that South Carolina staff's got the brain trust has got the greenback wonder on there, Marcus Satterfield.
Not anymore.
No,
Well,
he
it
just-
did when it did when it
Well,
pulled those things
really,
off.
that really saved his job because he was probably on his way out. But them beating Tennessee and Clemson, really now all of a sudden he's the boy wonder, and now he goes ahead and he leaves South Carolina. He's now the offense coordinator up at Nebraska.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Marcus, the polls.
I'm not sure that was
college-
anything more than a lateral move, maybe a downward.
Yeah.
I don't
College,
Yeah.
college football playoffs
Get paid a lot more, though.
Yeah, he
have
did.
Tennessee ranked number 7 compared to Alabama at number 6. There's been a lot of talk about that this
Ridiculous.
week because Tennessee beat Alabama, and the reasoning would be that Tennessee played better teams, better schedule than Alabama played, and of course, they won the game on the last play of the game on the field goal. But I think that the committee's saying, well, you got beat by an unranked team, and you didn't only get beat, you got beat badly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason that Tennessee's 7 and Alabama's 6. You can argue head-to-head all you want, but your thoughts, Marcus, on
It's timing. If Tennessee loses to South Carolina 2 weeks earlier that way, then it climbs back up. Alabama took its losses early and it took them close. And if you want to argue it, you can say, well, you know, they also squeaked by Texas by a point on a last play where they got one to work for them. So you can argue that Tennessee should be ahead of them. You could argue that neither Tennessee or Alabama should be in there anywhere near the top because they both looked immortal if you're going to use that eye test that they keep talking about falling back on.
Yeah, everybody likes to go to head-to-head, Tony. And if you'll remember back when Lou Holtz was at Notre Dame, that's going back a ways
Yeah.
here. But they were playing that both Notre Dame and Florida State were undefeated. And Bobby Bowden took the Seminoles into South Bend to play, and Notre Dame beat them up there. It was the next to last game of the season, and Notre Dame moved into number 1. Florida State went to number 2. The next week, Florida State won their game, the last game of the season. Boston College upset Notre Dame in South Bend. And Notre Dame was hollering, well, you know, we both got the same records, and we beat you head-to-head. Why are you number one and going to play for the national championship? This was before the 14 playoff.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were arguing and saying, well, let's pair up in the bowl game, and we'll decide it. We'll pair it up. And Bobby Bowden was going, no, we're not going to any bowl game. Y'all lost to Boston College up there, you see.
Yeah.
And that's it. You had your chance, and you got beat. But, you know, Coach Trail, I'm saying head-to-head doesn't always play out,
No,
does
that's
it?
right.
Unfortunately.
There's a lot of things that go into it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me, but looking at the schedule, I would say that Alabama looked better in their losses than we did in our losses. I mean, against Georgia, we only scored right there in
Yep.
the last quarter to put 7 points up on the board. Against
South Carolina.
Against South Carolina,
just-
I'm telling you what, I don't know what to Sam Hill happened there.
Yep.
I mean, it looked like we stayed in the dressing room. I've never seen. I really thought that somebody had bought that game off. It looked like it was a.
Somebody
Well,
worked an NIL deal on the game.
Yeah, that's what it
Well,
looked like.
the defense had such a horrible day. I mean, it wasn't a good day overall, but the defense was just bad.
But, I mean,
especially
the
that first
thing
half.
is, though, you look at who they were playing.
Yeah.
The week before, just like he said, he got beat 30 points at Florida.
Yep.
And weren't even in the game.
It wasn't even, and that quarterback had not done anything all year long. We came to that game, and he looked like Johnny Unitas.
Yep.
I couldn't understand it.
I think you hear our broadcast and how Troy was ripping him left and right, and he, you know, that inspired him.
I'm happy to be a
Inspired-
motivator.
there-
He
Happy
got
to be
great
motivated.
motivation.
Troy got off of ripping. He got off of ripping South Carolina and Spencer Rattler, and then he got on ripping the defensive coordinator. He got off of he got off him two pretty quick.
He was even saying
And
Carson
Beamer,
Newman shouldn't take Rattler.
He got
You know,
off
he can't
Beaver
play.
ball over there, and
It's-
boy, he just zeroed in on Tim
It's because
Banks
Tim
and the
Banks got
defense.
locked in the bathroom and nobody let him out. I don't know what to tell you. I just, you know what? Going back to the Alabama-Tennessee discussion, I just hate the fact that we've gotten to as a point in society or whatever it is where the losses mean more than the wins. I beat you. Won, but not only that, you lost to LSU. You know what I did? I beat LSU by 27 in their place.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
You can argue all you want, but we
Tennessee
lost.
has a better schedule. The
But
more
I'm
AP
telling
top
you,
25 wins.
the
What are we
bottom
doing?
line is
It doesn't make any sense.
You lost to an unranked team.
But no, that's not true.
An unranked team.
But that's not
they
true.
They were
Be-
horrible.
Great.
They
And-
got beat 38-6 the week before.
But that's great and all. But then the committee has changed their tune, and now that team's a top 20 team in the country.
Well, it is now because they beat Tennessee and they
Well,
beat
that's
Clemson.
that's the thing that we're talking about. They obviously aren't that bad if you're even considering
Well,
putting them in the
I'm
top 20.
just saying,
It's lunacy.
All that you're saying there makes a lot of sense, and you can argue it all the way down. But they are saying you got your tail kicked by South Carolina, an unranked team that got beat by Florida, and that's where you're a notch down from Alabama right now.
That's exactly right.
Unfortunately, that's what's happened.
There's no guarantee that
Yeah.
Alabama would lose to South Carolina if they played today.
Well,
No.
I wouldn't bet on that.
And it
I'd
matters.
take Alabama.
Matters
Troy
when you lose these games.
Troy
too.
put it on our
if
list
it's
to
earlier in the
pick.
year, then you got a chance to recover and improve.
Yeah. Well, all of this is going to be resolved in 2024, and we don't have a lot of time to talk about this, and we'll get maybe in a later segment here. But we're going from 4 teams to 12 teams, Coach Trail. And I
Then we'll be arguing up, who's the 12th or 13th or
if
14th?
we've got 12 in there right now, Tennessee's in. You know they're in, and it looked like I've seen some pairings up. They'd probably be playing Kansas State.
Yep.
And I was telling Coach Trail after I saw Utah last night, they'd be in. I wouldn't want to play them in the first round for some reason or another. Okay. Yeah. All right, it's time to take a break here, and we'll turn the page. And next up is the local scoreboard and Mark It Down featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Make the big play with MVP Money Tools from Knoxville TBA Employees Credit Union. With KTBA ECUs, contactless debit card, direct deposits that hit up to 2 days early, credit cards that earn cashback reward points, and loans with competitive rates. Add all 4 MVP Money Tools to build your financial roster. It's everything you need to win financially.
Join us now.
Equal opportunity community housing lender. Restrictions may apply. Call for details. 800-467-5427.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew. And now it's time for the local scoreboard, sponsored by Mandy B Street Realty. Donnie Moore, we got a state champion on the board.
We do indeed, Mike.
Tell us about it.
Well, I'll do just that. What do you say? State finals of the TSSAA football championships were held all weekend and being held even today and at UTC, University of Tennessee Chattanooga, at Finley Stadium. Can't say as I'd like to be down there today in the rain, but it rained about 20 drops on us yesterday down there for the state championship in Class 3A. Alcoa Tornadoes took on the East Nashville Eagles yesterday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it was no walk in the park for the Tornadoes yesterday. East Nashville came out and hit the tornado. He hit Alcoa right in the mouth from the very first drive.
Wanted the ball, took the coin toss, and took the ball.
Took the ball. You don't see that happen too often in today's football games, but in high school. But took it right down and scored. Took the lead early. Got the kick blocked, and took a 6-0 lead. But it was a good football game. Coach Nick said that was the hardest fought 19-point win he had ever had in his short tenure as Alcoa's head football coach.
Well, East Nashville, I mean, they took their lessons from last year.
They did.
Now, I'll give them credit for getting back because, they were 8-0, took 2 losses at the end of the year, had to play their way through the tough way through the playoffs because they hadn't been at home since early November. And But if you remember last year's game, Alcoa jumped out to a 28-0 lead.
Right.
And East Nashville was in a hole playing from behind. Still made it a competitive game in the second half. But they were very obvious in setting a tone that they were not going to fall behind like that if they could help it. They wanted the ball. They wanted to show they could score on Alcoa, and that they could make a drive, that they could chew clock. And they did all of that.
Threw the ball a lot yesterday and exposed Alcoa's secondary from the word go. But they did run the ball well, too.
I won't say they exposed the secondary. I think they were exposing some of the plan schematically of Alcoa's defense. When Alcoa went into zone, they were able to get into the gaps and get the ball, and the quarterback would give him a lot of props. He knew where he was throwing, and he made a lot of good decisions. He made some bad ones, but he made a lot of good, solid decisions.
He did. Threw the ball a lot in the middle, behind the linebackers, in that zone behind the linebackers and in front of the safeties. But they had a good plan. They stuck to it, and Alcoa just, as they do a lot of teams in that class, they wore them down.
They wore them down, but I think you've got to give Alcoa a lot of props for how they closed the first half, because this would have been a totally different second half if they went to break tied at 21. But you have a 31-second span. Alcoa blocks the PAT that would have tied the game at 21.
Right.
They take the ensuing kickoff, get a great return for a short field, mount a 2-play drive, get a touchdown, convert their own PAT, kickoff, and I don't think that was a planned long squib, but that's what it in fact turned out to be, because it hit in front of the return man. He didn't close on it, which was his mistake. But it hit in front of him, bounced over his head, comes down.
He touched it. He jumped up as high as he could, touched the ball.
Comes down behind him, and Alcoa is in position, recovers the ball, kicks a field goal, and you've got an 11-point swing. East Nashville was ready to go to the locker room tied.
Sure.
And instead, they're going down 2 scores.
Yeah.
That changed the entire game and let Alcoa do exactly what East Nashville didn't want to be in. They did not want to be playing from behind against Alcoa.
In a hole, that's right, and they did. The final score ended up being 45-26. Alcoa closes the season an 8-time consecutive state champion, which is historic.
Yeah, and we were talking about this Wednesday, Donnie. They're in a league that's got how many teams?
5.
They got 5 teams, so they're only playing 4.
Right.
Four
region games.
So you say, well, maybe they ought to play up. Well, they play up for 6 games, Donnie.
Yeah, they do. You're
they
right.
play up for 6 games. You look at their schedule next year. They got Bearden on there, and they've got Maryville on there, and they had West on there.
West
this
again.
Year.
They got to be in next year.
Elizabeth. You ought to have more than 5 teams in your schedule. Granted, in your league. Granted, but
they don't have any choice about it.
But they're actually playing in another league when they play all of these intersectional games against teams that are sometimes 2 classifications above where they're at, or 3 classifications above where they're at. So hats off to them. Makes them a better football team when they get into the state tournament, and I think they're showing that year after year.
They are.
They are. And you know what? The one thing we'll give Coach Nix state title number 1 for him.
That's
as
right.
the head coach.
But 21 for the program.
But he may be one of the best high school coaches when given the opportunity and when he's willing to do it, because if you watch the television broadcast yesterday, not to take anything away from Marty and Heath on the radio coverage, but from the TV broadcast, and they had Nix both before at halftime and after the game, he is really, really good when he decides to talk to the media.
He is.
And you could tell he's from the Gary Rankin School of talking to the media, but he also was very direct and talk to people like, not coach speak, just the way he talks to the team, which was East Nashville's not going to give it to us. We have to go take it.
Sure. I mention this again, the only school in Tennessee history in any classification to win 8 consecutive state championships.
Outstanding.
Breaks their own record.
Yep, that's true. The most valuable player of the game was senior quarterback Zach Lunsford. Threw 3 touchdown passes yesterday. I mention that because Zach waited his turn patiently and stepped in as a senior. He could have left and gone to another school and played somewhere else, but he didn't. He waited his turn. So congratulations to senior quarterback Zach Lunsford.
And he was 6 of 10, 6 of 9, something like that. I
yeah.
mean, real high completion percentage.
Yeah.
Obviously found his target because they all three went to the same guy.
Exactly. Luke Cannon. Yeah, Luke Cannon. He caught them all. Head coach Brian Nix in his first year takes a gold ball back to the city of aluminum, and so congratulations to the Tornadoes.
You know, just a great season by them making the transitions. But
Yeah.
you know, we're getting so kind of spoiled with the success that comes from some that we expect from them. But you know, it's not the guys that were playing 8 years ago didn't have one thing to do with what happened yesterday, and the guys that were winning it yesterday. So
Absolutely not.
that's a testament to both the players who were on that team and able to ignore some of that outside noise, but and to that coaching staff, which is pretty much been intact for going on about 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to wrap up football. We'll transition to basketball next week. So, and the other winter sports. You're listening to WKCE 105.1 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. And with that, we're going to kick it to veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons for his feature, Mark It Down.
Now we're going to mark it down this week. Okay. Well, courtesy of Troy's wrangling and mangling, we have some good guests this morning who are coming off a big county rivalry win last night. And longtime friend of the show, Rick Howard, has brought in some of the Lady Mountaineers here. Coach, big win last night for you guys, and it's always a struggle when you all play William Blount and get together. How did this one kind of turn out in your mind as far as did you get what you wanted beside the W?
Yeah, I thought we got to play a lot of young ladies early, and you know we were having trouble early scoring, but Chloe picked it up, and she had one of the best games of, I think, her career high and double, and JC came in and she made some tremendous steals and ran the fast break, made some layups, and Carson Swaney had a decent game too, and you know. Like we always say, if one of you don't play well, we need people to pick it up. And, you know, Becca was struggling a little bit, Garner, and that's when Chloe picked it up. And then JC came off the bench and picked it up. So, you know, it was a good team effort, and we got to play everybody. So it's always fun because they work hard, and, you know, it's fun when you can see everybody in.
Well, give us a brief introduction because I know you brought two of them in, and you've mentioned them already. I think one of them is wanted by the Blount County Fire Department, possible arson charges for the way she burned up the nets last night.
Yeah, that would be Chloe Heath. Yeah, she's a sophomore, 6'1", and she's really buying into what we want her to do. And I think last night we worked on it all week long, posting up, getting her the ball inside. And we did last night, and she did a heck of a job going to the boards and creating her own shots, you know. And then she stepped out. I think she hit 3 or 4 threes. I'm not for sure. And they were nothing but net, so that was great. And then we got J.C. Newbert. She's a sophomore also, quick as a hiccup, and she got in and gave up about 4 or 6 points real quick on defense, and that don't set well with me. But I was about to take her out, and I said, "Nah, I'm gonna leave her in there. Let her fight through this." And she did. She came and she started stealing the ball and sprinting up the floor and making great passes and hitting some good shots. She's gonna be a heck of a player. But our whole sophomore class, the 3 that played in Carson last night too, carried us last night. And then we got a lot of help from you know, other people like all together, so that was always nice.
Well, we didn't get a chance to talk to you in prep before this, but before we start talking about the game, I'll bring in some of the players to talk about this. You had Thanksgiving tournament.
Yes.
How did that go this year? Was it the usual holiday extravaganza, and did you get to go home and watch Ohio State?
Yeah, I got to, but Friday we almost blew a game that we should have won by 20. And like I tell these girls, you better be prepared or you're going to get beat. We missed 27 point-blank layups.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not talking about people on you, just point-blank. And Becca Garner had to hit a last-second shot to win the game. You know, and that's what I tell them. I don't care who you play. If you're not ready to play, then you'll have a chance to get beat. You know, we can beat anybody, but we can lose to anybody also. That's true.
But you did you did make it
Yeah,
back.
don't lie. Yeah,
Okay.
that wasn't a fun day.
I know you weren't ready for the result, but I was,
Hey, but look, we're backing in, baby. I think we're going to back into it and let Georgia whip us.
Yeah, that's a big question. You know, you're back in there, but all those fans, they want to get rid of Ryan Day. You're going to have an interim coach in the playoffs. Ohio State going to have an interim coach. Are they going to let Day coach
You know,
in the playoffs?
fans are all nutty, you know, when it comes to stuff like that. They tried to get rid of old Harbaugh up there for 5 years, and then he's in the playoffs 2 years.
They win the national championship, they'll go, yeah, we won the national championship, but we didn't beat Michigan.
Yeah.
Huh? That'll be the
Well,
next
hopefully
deal.
we'll get to play him again.
Yeah.
That'd be
yeah,
good.
well, that could be some redemption there.
Yeah, if we lose to them twice, they might fire him.
Well, you never know. I don't think they only let the SEC teams do that, where they get to rematch in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But let's talk to some of the Lady Mountaineers brought in here. You got the rivalry game. You got William Blunt. That's always got to be a big one. How did this one feel, and how did it feel to get the win last night?
You can go. Okay, it felt great. Like last year when we played against William Blunt, they had McKenna, which is a really good player, so we had to stop her. And this year, we've been working this whole week on just stopping the defense. And Coach Howard drives on us defense. And I think we did great on defense last night, just rebounding, scoring, and everyone just working together. This is one of the best teams I've ever played with. We're always there for each other. We always pick each other up, and we're always just best friends, and we just do everything together.
So, Coach mentioned you got to step outside and take some threes. I know he likes it and talks about it when you hit him.
Yeah. He always calls me a guard. He says I want to be a guard. I love shooting. That's one of my favorite things to do. So he told me, once you start scoring down low, they won't think you can shoot. So I scored down low, then I stepped out, and I made my three. So I'm sure he was happy about that because he told me I should not be a guard.
So which one do you like? Do you like putting one up and cleaning up possibly, or do you like stepping out and taking that three more?
I like stepping out shooting the three more, but I know that I have to be down there because I'm the tallest player by 3 inches on the team by everyone. So I have to be down low. And I'm starting to start posting up and just working on posting up because we do that every single day in practice, and we're starting to get the ball down low and score down there.
She's actually working on her moves. I told her I hated to squash her dream of being a point guard, but she's going to post up and score.
I was actually going to go because I was going to start. I was going to ask the guard whether she liked shooting outside or taking it into among the bigs. That was my next question.
She does. She don't care. JC's fearless. She'll go against anybody, anytime, and that's what I like about her.
Yeah, I like driving the ball in more than shooting outside.
This is the typical thing we get into. The bigs want to take it outside, and the guards want to take it among the trees, and they don't understand why some of those aren't high percentage opportunities.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, we know the staple of a Lady Mountaineer team is defense. How do you all feel about the defense you're putting up right now, and how much do you feel like you're still capable of growing with this defense?
Well, I think we had a rough start on our defense. Like Coach Howard said, we started our scrimmage against Sevier County, and it was not a good game for any of us. None of us played together. Our defense was not good. We did not rebound. And then as the season kept going, our defense started to bind in more, and we're starting to actually more focus on defense. We do 30 minutes of defense every single practice. So we're starting to get the hang of it and get into after Christmas is when most of our district games are. So before Christmas, we got to start practicing it more to get ready for those district games.
And what's the biggest challenge for you guys right now? What is it that, as a team, you feel like you need to get better at the most?
Playing as a team and buying into defense.
Coach, I think those are the answers you like to hear.
Yeah, they're doing it. I mean, I really enjoy coaching these young ladies. You know, they're hard workers, and they don't like to do the repetition that we do a lot every day. But I tell them that's how you get better at stuff. You just got to keep doing it over and over and over. Some kids these days don't think you have to. They just think they can go out there and do it.
Well, we know that they're sophomores now. We know you quit yelling when they become upperclassmen, right?
Once they're not a freshman anymore, they better buckle up.
We got to hear the screaming last year, though, too.
Hey. Yeah, after Christmas when they're freshman year,
Yeah,
I think they're ready.
Freshmen anymore after Christmas.
So, talk a little bit about what you do have for the holiday, because we kind of get in district, then we get out of district and do some holiday stuff, and then you got to. What does it look like for you all schedule wise?
Well, we got Halls away Monday, which they're undefeated, and then we got Tellico away, and then we got Seymour at home, I think, in which Seymour is a really good team. They got everybody back from last year. It's going to be a good week for us to get ready. And then Christmas, we have a pre-Christmas tournament. We got some really good teams coming in, and then we go to Carter after Christmas.
I was curious about. I hadn't had a chance to go through some of the holiday schedules, but with Christmas falling on a weekend this year, has that kind of opened it up for the week before and week after for Christmas tournaments?
Yeah, we always do it anyway. We have a pre-Christmas, and then we have we always play the 27th, 28th, and 29th after Christmas, so it really doesn't affect us.
And who are we expecting in that field this year?
Oh, yeah, we got Clinton, Central, Morristown East, Cumberland County, Covington from Tipton, Tennessee's coming. Who else? A couple really pretty good teams, and I can't think of right off the top of my head. But it'll be a great field. I think Campbell County's coming. And then over at Carter, we'll get to play probably Daniel Boone, which they give Bearden a really good game. So that'll be a good test for us to see where we are, So I'm excited. I always say we play first part of the season is before Christmas, then Christmas, and then the second, after, and then you got your fun time in the tournament. That's what it's a tournament game, and that's what we build for every, week. We try to get better each week.
Well, you mentioned Seymour's, and that's one I've kind of looked at because, like you said, they have everybody back, and it's also kind of a not quite William Blunt type rivalry, but you all share a lot of border areas out there where kids can kind of make a decision one way or the other.
Right, and I think we beat them both times last year, but it'll be last year's team was ahead of this year's team defensively. My seniors last year would get up in you and just get after you, period. But this young bunch is getting there, and I think they're excited about the challenge. So Seymour will be a fun game.
And Coach Hernandez tends to put together a good team now that he's got his chance to get over there. I'll put this to the players because I always like to ask this before we get into the holiday break. This is that time of year where you've had all the structure and then suddenly you don't have to get up and go to class for a while, but you still got to make it to practice, and you got a game and you're playing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock in the morning. How do you all kind of get ready for that because it's not the schedule you've been used to for the last couple of weeks?
Well, if we play late in the afternoon, he always makes us come in early for a shoot around so we don't sleep in and lay in bed all day. So that usually helps us to get moving and stuff. But sometimes we get a little lazy just laying in bed all day and then having to go to practice, and we're not really focused and ready. But we'll have to run for it if it happens like that. But we'll usually be ready for them.
Well, I know one of those the carrot that's sitting out there, that he's got that stick that if you don't have class, you can have really long practices the next day too. Isn't that kind of out there as a motivator? But what do y'all want to see besides? Let's call it the Christmas list. What do y'all want to see come out of your Christmas out for the break as far as the team goes?
Definitely playing as a team, working on our plays, buying into defense, and just playing heritage basketball.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I like that one. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming in. Let me see if Coach Edwards has any toss-ups. He wants to put any more digs out there.
I was wanting to know, Coach, when we start talking about the playoffs, and Ohio State backs in there, or however they get in, I'd like to have you come back. You and I are the our Southeastern team.
sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment featuring Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Heron. Troy got an undefeated basketball team in here this morning.
We do,
Right.
and they're playing really good basketball
Yeah,
at the
it's all
moment. We are joined by the William Blount boys basketball team, Caden Windle, our player of the week, Reese Pride, Grady Robertson, and Braden Mayfield. And Caden, I want to start with you. 20 points last night against Heritage, y'all's rival. Just kind of how good did that feel to play as well as you did against a team obviously y'all want to beat every time you play?
Definitely. It felt good because I was able to early in the game, I was able to establish myself and get a couple and ones, and then just kept it going each quarter to get there.
Reese, Grady, Braden, just for all of y'all, just how good does it feel to not only beat Heritage, but to do it in your district opener and kind of start the district 1-0?
It feels really good. Got a little revenge for our football team.
Right.
That felt good. Had a lot of fun with the guys, moved the ball well. I thought we played really good.
Yeah, I think we just came out and made a statement to all the teams in our district and to all the teams around that we're going to be playing. We're one of the best teams in the district.
Yeah, I think it sets the tone for all the teams around here to understand that, we come out and we're going to take care of business, night in, night out. Just that simple.
Reese, you mentioned the Battle of the Belly. Football guys, any of them talk to y'all this week?
For
Anything
sure.
like that?
They were all over us about this game. They wanted this game just as much as we did, so we were definitely trying to get that for them.
Okay, and when y'all go into the season, obviously, it kind of feels like this year the district is as wide open as it's ever been, just with how many guys fair get lost from a year ago and all that stuff. Just kind of what was y'all's mentality heading into the season, and is it the goal to try and be district champions at season's end?
Yeah, that's our goal, is to be first, and we feel like it's anybody's right now to win, and I think we can do it. I really do.
Reese, kind of same question, but just kind of how do y'all kind of deal with that, maybe that expectation level of kind of having to place that on your shoulders before the start of the year?
We feel really confident going into this season. Last year we obviously had a pretty good season, but we're looking to build on it. Like Grady said, I think we're one of the top teams in district. I think we can really make that happen, and it's really, like Caden said, it's really anybody's game. So we're working hard every day. We're gonna keep it going.
Grady, how much easier is it when y'all really didn't lose that much from this team, from last year's team, maybe with the exception of Matthew is the guy that comes to mind, the biggest one, but how much does it help when you go into a year and you kind of know everybody's play style? You don't have to learn anything new because y'all have been playing for a year or two together.
It's great. We just, every single day in practice, we play with each other. We get to know our game better with each other. I just think, we have the best chemistry around, I think.
Braden, just how much does that chemistry help on the court, and just in terms of kind of knowing where guys are, kind of feeling that? And do you feel a difference in terms of now having a year under y'all's belt?
For sure. You can tell, like, the varsity experience from last year, those games that maybe we lost that were close games, you can start to feel those close games that we have an obvious advantage in because of the experience that we've had and the experience that we have as a unit together. It's a total difference.
Grady, I want to talk to you for a second because obviously with the way last year ended, you had some guys who weren't able to play at the beginning of the year. You were one of the guys who could. Just how weird was it kind of being out there and not having your guys around you that you're used to having around you to start the season?
Well, I was sitting down for that.
Okay,
I wasn't
you
playing,
were sitting
but,
down for that one.
I believe it was
Braden was the one
but
who didn't sit.
I believe it was very weird for them, but like we just had to go out there and, you know, do our business and just like finish the games out. I think it's just another game. I think we were good with that.
Braden, weird being out there and you're looking around, you're like, this is not the group of guys that I'm used to playing with and I've practiced with all off season.
Yeah, it was weird. Kind of exciting to lead like those group of guys, the younger guys, you know, to lead them into a game like that. You know, that they were definitely nervous, but you know, just to calm them down and say, you know, it's fine. You know, it's just, you know, you got to go out there and take care of business, simple as that. And that's what we did, you know. So.
You obviously have a new piece this year in Bryson Stewart. Do you feel like, as much as I know all of y'all wanted to be out there and playing those first 2 games, do you feel like that was good for Bryson to kind of be able to go out there and maybe have more opportunity for himself and kind of get more comfortable with the team a little bit?
Oh yeah, that put him in a rhythm to see. And you saw it last night. He had 14, and he was a key contributor in that win last night. He got us started, hit 2 threes in the first quarter. That really started us off hot, set the tone for the game. So I mean, him getting in that rhythm to start the season was great for us and himself. So.
Caden, we talk about, you know, Coach Edwards says it off to a really good start this year. Just kind of from y'all's perspective, what is working so well for y'all at the moment?
Well, this summer and before the season started, we really started working more on defense and being aggressive, being the aggressive team. I really feel like that's what's got us most of our wins. You know, our offense, same as last year, you know, pretty good, but I think our defense has stepped up a lot this season.
Reese says, I know guys like to see the ball go in the bucket, and that's kind of the most fun thing about basketball, but how much has maybe that approach to defense kind of been a challenge for y'all, and how much have y'all kind of embraced it?
Coach Conley, Coach Wendell has set up a whole new defense for us. It's like a lock left type thing. We really just went all in with it. We love it. We get after it, and we love the press. We love to get after it. It's a lot of fun out there, and I love our defense, and we're looking to keep the pressure going.
Grady, this is a team that has always kind of relied on, you know, 3-point shooting and its offense and all that stuff, but there are nights where shots don't fall for whatever reason. Do you feel like the added emphasis on defense kind of makes y'all a harder team to beat?
Oh, for sure. Our defense, our coach says every time, if we get stops and stuff, you know, we don't have to go down and set up a play. We just go and run, do what we do best, and go score. I think that, like, we're the best team to go run and go score. That's our strength as well as knocking it down. We can do both.
Braden, this Heritage team that y'all played last night is not the Heritage team of a few years ago. They got some really good players in Grant and some really good guards. Just to be able to hold them the way y'all did last night, is that kind of evidence of how much y'all have put into this defense and how much it works?
Yeah, I think in the years past, especially last year, we went out there and we got our teeth kicked and, you know, start the game. This year we've been the aggressor, like Caden said. We've been aggressive in how we guard teams, and to go out there and maybe you're going to get a few fouls. You know, Grady got in foul trouble last night, but that set the tone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know they got some good players, but I felt like we were the most aggressive team on the court, and that really contributed to the win.
Caden, we talk a lot about last year and how good of a year it was, but just how maybe tough was it the way that season ended with the whole Farragut situation and all the region stuff? Just how maybe tough was it to have the season end that way, as good as y'all played throughout the year?
That was really tough. I was hoping we'd be able to finish the game, you know, and possibly come back, but we gotta rebound from that and try to go farther this year. That's the goal, hopefully.
Did it provide some motivation at all?
For sure, it definitely lit a fire. We wanted it. We wanted this season more than anything. After that, like, our senior leader, Cole Gibson, couldn't even finish his last game. It was terrible. So this season's for Cole.
Yeah, right. Braden, when we talk about Cole, he obviously meant so much to y'all as a team. Just kind of how have y'all gone about replacing him and kind of trying to fill those shoes a little bit?
Well, you know, coaches always talk about guys that are culture setters, and he was a culture setter. You know, he changed the culture through his 4 years. I mean, he played varsity since he was a sophomore, I think. And so when you have a guy like that and then he leaves, it's on us to continue that. And I feel like, you know, Cole, we wouldn't be where we are right now without Cole as a leader.
Grady, what were some of the biggest things you learned from Cole, just in terms of leadership aspect and all that stuff, how to kind of lead a team?
Just like you said, the leadership aspect, you know, doing all the little things, you know, diving for that ball, going to get that rebound, getting that tip for the steal, making that extra pass, just doing all the little things we're doing.
We talk about shooting, we talk about defense, but one thing that I know William Blount is known for, and it has been ever since Coach Wendell has been here, is its depth and how many guys y'all can kind of go deep off the bench. Just for any of y'all that want to answer this, just kind of how much do you think that benefits you, that you kind of look down the bench and you trust every guy that's sitting down there and their ability to play?
Yeah, definitely. I know, if, for instance, last night me and Grady got in foul trouble, but we subbed and it was the same team out there, And then going into the fourth quarter, we looked over, Braden pointed it out, we looked over at Heritage and they just looked gassed. But we were all standing up, ready to keep going, play another game.
What's that feeling like when you kind of know, like, hey, our 8, 9, 10 guys, we trust all those guys. We know that we can run and kind of give our full effort, and maybe the other team can't do that. What's it like looking over at the other bench, Reese, and knowing that they're tired and y'all still got some game left?
It's an amazing thing. We love all our guys on our team. They can all do just as much as what everybody can do. We trust them all, and it's an amazing feeling that we can just put them in and know that they're going to hang right there with them or just beat the team that we're playing. So definitely feels good.
Great. We've talked about, wanting to win this district championship, but it kind of feels like this team is capable of more than that. Just kind of what is maybe the goals that y'all have set heading into the season?
Our goal is to go to state, Hasn't been done in our school at all, and we got to push each other in practice every day, which we do, and just keep doing what we do, playing hard defense, physical defense, and running the floor and just scoring, just being ourselves pretty much.
Braden, when y'all talk about state, it's obviously the thing that every kid wants to, but it really does feel like this team has the ability to do that. Just kind of how do you y'all make sure that you kind of keep that intensity throughout the year and don't let it slack off at any point? Because obviously once you get to that tournament time, one loss can kind of be the end of that dream.
Yeah, you gotta keep everybody accountable. Everybody's got to keep each other accountable, and work hard at practice. It's really as simple as that. If you work hard at practice and we continue to play like we're capable of, we feel like we can beat anybody.
For all of y'all, just what are the conversations y'all have had in your locker room about wanting to be the first team to get to Murfreesboro and all that stuff?
Well, we definitely talk about it a lot, and obviously it'll be really tough, but I think we can do it. We just got to get the right matchups, right teams, and I think we can go to state, definitely.
The coaches tell us every day before the game, or every night before the game, we run the floor, dive box out, pressure ball, and repeat. And I think if we do that, move the ball well, play with team chemistry, play with energy, I think we can definitely be a state team and get there and have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I believe that we just got to keep locked in on the goal at hand, keep our priorities straight, just keep working day in, day out, work together, listen to coach, and just do all the little things.
Yeah, just everything they said, basically.
I know it's December, and I know December is usually a fun month for William Blount basketball because Coach Wendell gets y'all and basically get y'all all over the country. So how much are you excited for these Christmas tournaments and an opportunity to get out of state and kind of have some fun?
Oh, yeah, I'm excited to go to Destin. That's always most fun of the season, going there.
It definitely is a big team builder, team chemistry builder. We love Destin so much, and we're excited. We lost 2 games there last year, so we're looking to definitely win that tournament this year. We're excited for that.
Yes, for sure. We play some of the best talent from other states, and we get to level up and see, how we match up against these teams. And, I think it's a big step forward going into the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think everyone talks about us on the court, but when we go to Destin, it's a big off the court experience for all of us. And last year, I think that's where most of us got a lot closer as friends and family per se. So I think that's huge.
Coach talked about that a lot last year. He felt like when y'all got back from Florida, he could sense a difference in that team. One, could y'all sense that difference from y'all's perspective? And 2, how do you kind of make sure that you even elevate that further this year?
Yeah, I mean, we lost a heartbreaker down there, and I really feel like we grew as a team after that loss. I think, you want to win every game, but sometimes a loss can be the best thing for you. And we lost a tough one, and the team really grew after that. I think it brought us together.
Yeah, I think what Caden said is exactly right. You would think a loss like that would tear us apart, but it really brought us together. It really made us talk about game plan and what we could have done and differently and stuff like that. So, and that whole trip was amazing. We grew as a team so much. So we're definitely excited for that.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I just think we got to go down there, like I said, just keep doing what we do, and I think we'll be perfectly fine.
And the beach temperature is much nicer than it will be in a couple weeks here, right? Too? Yeah.
Sure.
Reese, we mentioned Cole. Obviously, he was point guard last year, started from him. Obviously, now you take over that mantle and lead kind of everything here. Just kind of what is maybe the pressure of filling those shoes, and how have you gone about kind of trying to lead this team as kind of that point guard, floor general type of thing?
There's definitely a lot of pressure filling in Cole's shoes. He was a great point guard, but great guard in general. On this team, we got so many scores, so like I pass the ball, and I already know I got so much confidence in all three of these guys and everybody on our team to go get a bucket. I'm just looking to make the right play, have seldom turnovers every game, but looking to make the right play. And I know I just trust my teammates, and we got scores, man. It's fun to play. It's fun to play point guard on this team.
I think a couple of years ago, Caleb had 20 assists or whatnot. You aiming for the record at any point this year?
Caleb, watch out, man.
Caden, for you, just how have you seen Reese kind of grow into that point guard role and lead this team?
I mean, I didn't really get to play with Reese until my sophomore year, last year. That was the first time we started together, and you know, Reese has always been a really good player, and I saw him grow as the season went on, and really this year, I think he's really took off as a floor general, and he changes the game with how he plays, definitely.
Okay, when we talk about offense on this team, obviously William Blunt, three-point shooting, everybody knows that kind of, but when you guys also have like you're long, Caden's long, Riley Everett's really big, how hard do you think it is for opposing defenses to defend y'all when it kind of feels like y'all shoot the ball as well as you can get it to the bucket and score inside?
No, I feel like it's very difficult for them. We can score wherever we want, anytime we want on the floor, I think. And we have the players and the ability to do that. I just think that the way we move the ball so well and the chemistry that we have, we're just a dominant force and a dominant team on the scoring side.
Braden, what's Coach's time of thing during the game? Was he saying, hey, y'all shooting too much, going inside too much? And how do you kind of feel like as players y'all balance that and making sure that everybody touches the ball when you have so many good players?
No, I don't think he usually doesn't tell us that. You know, it's just he'll give us a play and it's our job to execute.
Right.
If we don't execute, then he'll get on to us and say, you know, you need to execute better. But you know, it's really just I feel like we execute pretty well when we go through our offensive sets. You know, coaches have put us in an awesome position to. When we execute, they're going to work. So,
well, guys, congrats on a big win last night. Congrats on a great start to the season. We wish you the best of luck going forward, and I'm sure we'll probably have y'all on again at some point this year.
Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you, and thank y'all for waking up this morning so early. I know it's not easy for kids sometimes. Mike, back to you.
Thanks, Troy. Time for a break. When we return, it's Sports Headline with Donnie Moore and the Tennessee Smokies Spotlight. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
Make the big play with MVP Money Tools from Knoxville TBA Employees Credit Union. With KTVA ECUs, contactless debit card, direct deposits that hit up to 2 days early, credit cards that earn cashback reward points, and loans with competitive rates. Add all 4 MVP Money Tools to build your financial roster. It's everything you need to win financially.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Housing Lender. Restrictions may apply. Call for details. 800-467-5427.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza. Made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville, and it's time for sports headlines with veteran of the sports page, the Goatee Sports page, Donnie Moore. Donnie, what's going on? Sports.
I'm getting to be a veteran of just about everything, Mike.
We all are.
The longer we live, we're a veteran of just about everything.
I was going to say, it beats the alternative, Donnie.
It does indeed, Marcus.
You could have gotten fired.
Good point.
Hey, we're looking over the number 1 mascots in the NFL, and I think the one for Jacksonville, it would be great for Ray.
Yeah, we got it for Ray. He's gonna wear it during the Christmas parade today.
There you go.
So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah,
you see a mascot with a thumb.
Yeah,
all right.
look out.
We are looking out over Broadway right here, and they're getting ready for the annual Christmas parade here in Blount County, and we always look forward to seeing what goes on here.
Make sure we get ready to leave here a few minutes early so we can get all.
That's right. You scoop up the candy as it goes by.
A lot of things being scooped up.
Snatch the candy from the
Candy
hands of the
cigars.
kids. Yeah, that's it. It's awful windy here on Broadway. I had to bring in one of our banners. I didn't want it falling on some of the kids out there. So.
Well, I saw some of the little chairs go flying a little while ago.
I
so
did
it's,
too.
It's, it's a nice.
Wind's
It's going to be
picking up.
entertaining, though. Santa's coming.
That's it. Well,
yeah.
We're done with the Mandy B. Street Realty local scoreboard, so now we're going to slide into the sports headlines of the week. Tickets went on sale Thursday of this week for an unprecedented event in NASCAR Cup Series history. July 1st and 2nd of the upcoming season, 2023, the streets of Chicago will be home to both a Cup race and an Xfinity Series race. Yes, I said the streets of Chicago, Mike. The uniquely formatted 12-turn, 2.2-mile street race will take drivers of both series past many of Chicago's downtown landmarks. The financial impact to the city is expected to be considerable, with over $100 million per year flowing into the city of Broad Shoulders. How you like that, Carl Sandberg?
Another
And
race, Mike.
how much of that's going to be for the damages when somebody's car comes off turn 3 and goes into the 3rd story of a high-rise?
Well, you know, they got to take that into
What-
consideration.
Can you get those cars bulletproof?
That's what I'm saying.
That's right. You go through the wrong end of town there.
You know, I hadn't thought about
If
it.
it goes through the south side,
that will provide some entertainment.
consideration.
Hey, Mike, it's just another NASCAR race. I'm hearing rumors that they're thinking about doing 3 a week. 3 sprint car races a week, or whatever they're called. Now, are they sprint car? No, I don't know.
Yeah,
if they're
that's
called
different
that.
series.
No, whatever it
Yep.
is. Who cares?
Different series.
Stock cars. Hey,
Yeah, stock cars.
It'd be hard pressed to get 2 of those cars on in the street. I think I'm very much room. I don't know how they're going to pass. Those cars aren't small.
No, they're not.
You know, they're
You're right.
quite a bit bulkier than an Indy
I'm
car.
sure they've taken that into consideration.
They're gonna do it like an F1 race.
I guess. I just think it's
First one to hit a pothole at 100 miles an hour loses.
It's surprising that NASCAR is running a street race when they have just for years and years built their whole series on ovals.
On ovals, yeah.
How far are we from doing the cannonball run in real life here? We're going to shut down I-40. How quick can you get to Nashville?
Burt Reynolds is no longer with us.
It kind of feels like NASCAR has no idea what it wants to do. It's just picking at straws and trying to do some different things.
trying
Hey,
to-
we're going to put 70 races in a season, and we'll
trying to get things back to
do as
where
much
it's
as we can. and-
popular, build its
Well,
popularity.
I tell you
back.
what, I would think a whole lot before I raced in Chicago. I mean, it wouldn't take me long to figure that out.
Well, anyway,
Golly.
it's happening.
Maybe it'll be the first race where the driver actually has a gun in the cockpit. What do you think, Coach Gray?
Mounted on the front end like
Yeah,
a James
there you go.
Bond.
Yeah.
Put the rifle on the back right there. You know,
What if they have to if they make them stop and fill up the tank at a Chicago gas station?
or be one of those like what was it the decathlon or something where the skiers they got to ski for a while, then they go ahead and come out, then they shoot.
That's a what do they call it, triathlon?
Yeah, something Olympic, but and to be part of it, they drive.
Biathlon.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
drive
just
or
running
go
and
to a stop,
shooting.
then they got to get their shots down on
Skiing
the
and
south side of
shooting.
Chicago.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
Who invented
they'll
that?
have that in Chicago, and they don't even
I
have
don't
to
know.
advertise it.
Who invented the
I mean, they'll
biathlon?
bet.
Probably
I don't know.
Swedes.
And the
but
one that gets
Probably
the
someone who
length of
kept
the
it
track
going in
without
second place
getting
all the
shot is the winner.
Swedes or Germans? Give
Or the
me a
last car
choice.
standing.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the last car standing.
now would it be a handgun or would it be AR?
We are off the rails. We've
Okay.
completely
We are.
lost, we've lost the train.
We've lost our minds.
Okay, Donnie, get us back.
Okay,
Get
here
us
we
back
go.
on track, please.
Here we go.
Got anything else in Chicago?
Here we
that
go.
can
Nothing
get-
else in Chicago. New Orleans Pelicans star Zion Williamson played in his 100th career NBA game Monday night, and it's only taken him since 2019 to do it.
He's a bit fat.
Drafted in July 2019, the Duke alum did not make his professional debut until January 22nd of 2020. Also on Williamson's resume is the fact that he has had no technical fouls. Well, not until Monday night. Oh well, I guess the pressure is off. He got one Monday night. His very first.
So he's only played in 100 games
Yeah.
in the last 3 years.
In 4
Tony,
years, yeah.
Don't judge the man. If you lived in New Orleans for 4 years, you might not be able to
Oh,
do
I
anything
know,
either.
I know. That's a rough
That-
place to live.
Great
Beignets.
food.
He's been
Great
injured
food.
most of
Great
the time.
Bad place to drive around in.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Well, here's
I
a
want some
positive.
gumbo
Here's a
now.
positive note. Hendon Hooker, Vol quarterback for most of the 2022 campaign, has been named as a finalist for the 2022 Manning Award, presented to the nation's best college quarterback. The 11 Manning Award finalists are as follows. It's a pretty prestigious list. Hendon Hooker of Tennessee, Stetson Bennett of Georgia, Max Dugan of TCU, Sam Hartman of Wake Forest, Drake May of North Carolina, Bo Nix of Oregon, Michael Penix Jr. of Washington, formerly of Indiana.
Formerly committed to Tennessee.
Formerly committed to Tennessee, that's right. Will Rogers of Mississippi State, C.J. Stroud of Ohio State, Caleb Williams of USC, and Bryce Young of Alabama.
And you know
Pretty
what?
impressive
Every
list.
one of those players have played on outstanding teams this year. There's no quarterback on that whole list that played for really a subpar team this year.
No, I know.
All of them played for outstanding football team.
Well, if you're the quarterback,
gonna win the Heisman?
If your quarterback don't play, and your team doesn't do good, you're not going to get a whole lot of publicity.
That's a perfect example of how important a quarterback
Oh,
is
yeah.
to a great program.
Absolutely.
That's
You're right.
that's how important a great program is to the quarterback.
Or and how important a quarterback is to a great team.
Yeah,
Just
it all works
either way,
together.
it works
if you
together.
don't have a good team, a quarterback's not going to do well.
That's right.
At all.
And if you don't have a great quarterback, your team
Team
may
may
not
not
do
gonna
well.
do well.
You're right. It's interchangeable. Gaylord Perry, 84 years of age, a two-time Cy Young Award winner and Baseball Hall of Famer, died Thursday at his home in Gaffney, South Carolina. Perry, the first player to win the Cy Young in both leagues, was notorious for his spitball and for his stories about the pitch. He didn't just throw it, he told about it, advertised it. He won his Cy Young awards in Cleveland and San Diego. Perry pitched for 8 different major league teams between 1962 and 1983. He was a 5-time All-Star and was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1991. He used a pitching style where he doctored baseballs or made batters believe he was doctoring them.
He got only caught one time.
Yeah.
Doctoring up a baseball.
Exactly. He was good at it.
He's very good at it. He let the people. He messed with the minds of all the
He took
batters.
Charlie Paleo under his arm, taught him all those spitball pitches.
Hey, talking to Charlie Paleo, he moves up the list. He moves up the list.
That's right. Hey, we got to mention that.
Really, I got a chance to meet Gaylord Perry because Gaffney's where Limestone was.
Yeah.
And I was there for a year.
You met him.
Me and the baseball coach had
Nice.
lunch with him. And just a great guy. I mean, just really nice.
Nice.
It was really an honor to get a chance to meet him.
Good. I'm glad you've gotten. That's impressive, Tony. Well, that's it for this week's sports headlines. Let's focus on the spotlight. Back to you, Gunner.
Hey, we're back with former University of Tennessee football coach Ray Trail, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Heron, veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, along with Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli. Last night, the college football playoffs either got more clear or more muddled. I don't know which it is going into today. But let's take a look at these playoffs, and if there could anything more could happen to change the top 4 teams. Georgia
in.
I don't see how you can leave Georgia out even if they lose. Michigan, are they in? They're in. TCU. Undefeated, a lot of talk about
should be in, but the national narrative is if they
know.
lose today, they're out, and I don't get that at all.
And if they're out,
I think they're going to get beat today.
And if
I'm fine with that, but they should be in regardless.
If they're out, that puts a 2-loss team in, Coach Trail, for the first time in playoff.
Well, why would you drop a TCU undefeated? It's lost one time. You're gonna throw them out and bring a 2 in?
Right, we got no idea what's going on. That's why.
Yeah,
we
and
got no idea what's going on.
TCU, out of all those teams, played the best schedule.
Yeah, toughest schedule. and all. I think TCU, because it's not in that elite category, I think, in college football. I mean, I think if they lose that, they're going to try to get them out.
If TCU loses today and they don't make the playoff, essentially what they're saying is, what the committee is saying is, well, shame on you for playing in your conference championship game. You should have lost beforehand like Alabama did.
Right.
They would be penalizing TCU for playing one more game, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's correct.
I
think TCU, win or lose, should be in there.
I don't see how you can keep them out with 1 loss.
That's the right thing to do, but we know
Ohio
that doesn't
State, they're not in a championship game, and how they got shellacked last week by Michigan. They're really, a team. I think that.
I think what we talked about last week, if that game was like a 1 or 2 point game, then there's a good opportunity that loser might be in. But the way they got smacked around, like you said, I mean, I think they're done.
And the question really to me is the conference championship game going to survive when we go to this expanded playoff?
That's a good
because
question.
what we're seeing is it's costing teams their playoff spot. And it's making it harder to figure out who's going rather than clarifying who should be going because teams aren't winning them. Yeah. I mean, Georgia's probably the only one who we think is probably safe to win when they should here.
Yeah. Well, if you're looking, the 2 divisions, I think has hurt the playoff teams trying to get in to a certain extent because you look at the SEC this year, you got a 9-3 team in there.
Yep.
And you were hoping they would be 10-2 with a shot at getting in by beating Georgia. And now that SEC game has really, it's meaningless.
Right.
It would be more meaningful for the SEC to have stepped forward and saying, well, we have this clause in here that, if you're not the best team, even though you win that division, we can pick, say, a Tennessee to go on in there and play in the championship game, which would have been a better deal.
Sure.
Or Alabama to go in there because then you still got a chance of getting 2 teams, in the playoff. You got SEC's got no chance now. You know, with their championship game and getting both those
It's
teams in.
become an eliminator is what it's developing into. Because if you were to have that unlikely scenario, say LSU did beat Georgia today, well, then your SEC champion isn't in the playoff, but the runner-up is.
Yeah.
And if you have that, how many situations can you have among the Power Five where your conference champions aren't in the playoff, but your runners-up are in the playoff?
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
I'm looking at these top 4 teams that are going to the playoffs. Georgia did not play a real strong SEC, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't play a real strong SEC schedule. They played Oregon and they played Tennessee, were the 2 teams that they played. The best
only two real teams they played.
Michigan played Penn State, Illinois, and Ohio State, and they beat Ohio State. Well, that's 9 games, or 9 out of their games that they played against teams that weren't very good.
When you're talking those quality wins, though, when you're saying, it's the top 25 teams or teams that were ranked, Georgia has the same wins that Tennessee does with South Carolina. Well, they've got South Carolina where they beat them and Tennessee didn't, but they beat Kentucky. Teams that were ranked at one point may not have been ranked when Georgia beat them, but what does that matter if they were ranked when you beat them?
Yeah. And in Ohio State, they played Notre Dame and they played Penn State, and of course they got shellacked by Michigan. So, you're looking at these top 3 or 4 teams, and then you look at who Tennessee played during the year. Tennessee probably had a tougher schedule, Troy, than any of those 4 playoff teams outside of TCU. Is that an accurate statement to make or not?
Yes, it is. And that's why I'm sitting here and I'm saying, how is Alabama ahead of them? I would almost argue that given Ohio State's resume and just how they lost to Michigan, I mean, to me, no different than how Tennessee lost to South Carolina or Georgia. Resume-wise, Tennessee should be the 5 right now and talking about being in over USC, but the committee don't care about none of that. So.
But when you're talking about scheduling, I mean, Tennessee's a victim or beneficiary of the randomness of the SEC schedule under the format. They got the West. They had Alabama and LSU to deal with, whereas Georgia had what? Vanderbilt or?
Georgia had
Arkansas?
Auburn.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who the other team was.
There was a vagueness where Alabama, who'd they get from the East? Well, they had Tennessee, but they had Vanderbilt. I mean, you're not going to get any. That's not something you're going to control in your conference schedule.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to sit here and talk about this next year when Tennessee plays Austin Peay and yada yada about, well, you should play people that are good and you should do that and this and the third. Obviously, it don't matter. It doesn't make a difference who you play, and so they should just play the cupcakes, because if you're going to play good teams like Pitt and all that stuff, and it doesn't make a difference when it comes to talking about the playoff, then play the darn Citadel. Who cares? Because it don't make a difference at that point. We could sit here and talk about it till you're blue in the face about, we played a tough non-conference, it don't make a difference. It don't make a difference.
Let me throw this scenario out. Everybody's wondering where Tennessee's going to go to their bowl game. Of course, that's still up in the air right now. But Coach Trail, could this happen? I mean, nobody's talked about this, but let's say, they're penciling Tennessee in, most people, to the Orange Bowl or the Cotton Bowl. But Southern Cal got beat last night, and they played for their conference championship game, and they've only lost 2 games this year, both to Utah, good Utah team. So let's say that LSU upsets Georgia today. LSU's going to go to the Sugar Bowl. They're going to move Alabama to the Orange Bowl. Southern California, they played in their championship game. They've only got 2 losses. I would think that they would have a chance of trumping Tennessee for the Cotton Bowl. So where's Tennessee going with their outstanding 10-2 record and their resume? Where are they going if that happens?
Hawaii.
Looks like citrus.
I think the Cotton Bowl would still take Tennessee.
No,
just because they don't care. When it comes down to those bowl games, they do not care about resume. They care about who's going to make the most money. Tennessee fans travel better than USC fans do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Tennessee's probably getting a bid.
Well, I don't know how well they're going to travel to see him play Tulane.
Yeah.
You're really down on Tulane, and I don't understand
guess Coach
why.
Trail and I will be getting our reservations for that one. What with Coach
Yeah,
Trail?
buddy, I tell you what.
We're going to
yeah.
pay big money for 50-yard seats, aren't we, to see
You're really-
Tulane
you're-
and Tennessee
you're really-
play.
you're really-
If they play Tennessee, if Tennessee plays Tulane
in the
after the
Cotton
year
Bowl,
Tennessee's had right here and the resume they've had and who they've beaten, it'll be the biggest slap in the face to any football program that's ever played in college football. Now, that's just the way I see it. Now, if they go down there and get beat by Tulane, that'd even be worse. But there's absolutely nothing for Tennessee to gain by playing Tulane
You could
in
blame
a football game.
You could blame Tim Banks.
Well,
He's still locked in that South Carolina bathroom. He's banging on the door, so he hasn't eaten in 2 weeks.
He still hasn't gotten out yet.
No. And he might starve to death in there. And it might be the best thing that ever happened in Tennessee.
If they go, well, not if, they're going to go to the 12-team playoffs, and we've seen this week where we've got players entering the transfer portal. The quarterback at Notre Dame, he said, well, you can go to the bowl game if you want to, but I'm out of here. I'm in the transfer portal.
Well, there's two at Tennessee.
And Tennessee, they're opting out. They're going to opting out for the pro deal and so forth and so on. What's going to happen? What's going to happen when you have the playoffs, Tony, and you're playing more games? Are they going to opt out if they're in the playoffs?
I think when nowadays when you get especially your high draft picks that are potential, I think a lot of them would be opting out because they don't want to put their bodies at risk. They're going to be playing 2 or 3, not one bowl game, but 2 or 3 more ball games.
Even if they got a chance to win a national championship, you think they'll still opt out?
I think you'll get your fair amount that decide to opt out. Yeah. And that's the way we are right now.
And that's partially on advice that they're receiving. That hey, you don't need to risk the injury. You need to go. You got to work on your pro day. Your draft stock.
Yeah.
But the more this becomes a business, the more that college football begins to resemble professional football. I think you're going to see that attitude shift back the other way because at what point does an NFL scout look at you and say, if you're not going to play for your team in the college playoffs, why do I have any faith you're not going to hold out and try to hold me ransom for your true professional contract?
Right.
When does that?
And I hope that starts playing into it because of late that really has not played into it. I
think there's a point coming where that's going to be taken into consideration both by the NFL for its own defense and for the very fact to put that thought in kids' heads.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, now they're not going to be able to put anything in anybody's head because a college kid going now has already got paid more than most of them up there playing anyway. You've already been paying him $4 or $5 million a year, and he's going to gain on either way it goes. I'll tell you that right
They're
now.
already playing in the pros.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, college sports, now professional. Go ahead and admit it. It's not intercollegiate, scholastic.
The
Get
thing
an
is, you talk
education.
about,
It's pro sports.
That's exactly right. That's what I was fixing to say. You don't ever see anything talked about the school. Going to school or all of these, none of it.
Yeah. Honest with you, it could get to a point where going to school is an option.
Yeah.
If you want to go to school, fine. If not, fine. But you're playing college football.
Well, they were saying the other day about Notre Dame up there that they have those kids.
I notice whenever you mention Notre Dame, Troy's hand starts automatically shaking.
But I'm saying every one of them has a tutor that does all their work for them and turns it in. And so what?
You'd think they'd be better. I don't know if I believe that. You'd think they'd be better at football if that were the case.
Well, everybody's doing it, so it's
Xbox is not going to play itself.
I'm just saying.
Well, that's what North Carolina
I'm just like Mike. It's pro, and whether you want to say it or not.
It's big money. It's
pro.
Professional sports. You're paying players now. You're paying big salaries to all the coaches. You go to the stadiums, and the stadiums look like professional stadiums with all the gyrac, all the different things, the shows, the light shows, all of that. It's just a big money-making professional outfit.
If you're a potential real strong first-round draft pick, are you going to risk yourself playing in 2 or 3 more extra games and risk yourself with the possibility of an injury. You know,
The only school.
You will if you're getting a bonus
the
from your
only
NIL
school-
sponsor.
Yep.
The only school in the United States that I have seen that are rewarding players for education is Purdue. If you are making a certain grade point average, you're getting a payment at Purdue University. That's the only
that's
one.
good. I think that's
That's
good.
it.
I
That's the
think
only
that's
one
great.
I've seen. Hey, let's talk about the.
It's paying for grades
if-
on a whole new scale.
If the SEC goes to one division, Marcus, they go to one division, championship game gone. You don't have an SEC championship game once you go to one division, 12-team playoff.
I think there's a point coming where the committee is going to have this first iteration is looking at that first round being with being not neutral sites, but being hosted, and then trying to incorporate bowl games. I think what's going to rapidly become clear and develop is that the conference championship games are going to have to be integrated into that format, and it's going to have to be a bigger format because you're going to have. You can't be eliminating some of your best teams before you even start. And it's bad enough now we're trying to get 4, but when you're talking about it in terms of pick number 11, and that's going to depend on how close they play in the Big 12 championship game, whether they get beat by 1 touchdown or 3. That's the kind of level of ridiculousness that we just can't.
Yeah.
Just not going to work.
You know, if you're with the SEC main office, something that you would really have to consider when you go to this one division, Tony, is scheduling. Scheduling is going to be really important.
Sure.
To how many teams you get in. You're going to have to be you better look at that real close from year to year and take a look at, they're going to have to look at rosters and teams and how they're projected when they set their schedule, or they could be left out, some of their teams.
Yeah, and again, we're going to be going in uncharted territory right now, and I'm glad they're going to be adding more teams, but it's just a different type of world we live in terms of college sports, and especially in football right now.
Yeah. I'd like for them just to go to 10 football games, all SEC games, then go into the playoffs and forget all this other stuff, these side games and so forth. Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, the panel presents their Shelter Insurance Bold College Football Predictions. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're gonna do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today: call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the panel's Shelter Insurance Bold College football predictions for this week. So, Troy, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, and I'll give a quick USA update. They're currently losing 3-1 to the Netherlands in the 90th minute, so pack your bags. They're going home.
All he needs a field goal.
Somebody get the field goal post out. Somebody get the field goal post out there, and we can win this thing. But if not, it's all over the swan song. Okay, so here we are. 1 second here, just updating some things real quick. Yada yada yada. Here we are. Yabba yabba yabba. Okay, here we are. Mike, you're still in the lead, so you will be picking first again today. You're currently holding a 3-game lead.
Mike.
This could be the last picks thing we do. Depending on how the week goes out, if it gets real close, then we're going to be picking bowl games here next week, and if not, then we will crown Mike the champion if he finds a way to run away. So there's a lot of pressure on his shoulder. He could end it here. He could end it right here, not have to worry about picking next week.
Put it away.
This is his game to lose right now. A lot of pressure on you, and he knows there are some tough ones. There was only one person who went over 500 last week.
Yeah.
It was this guy right here.
Who was that?
It was this guy right here. Let's go. One for the Gipper. Yeah.
You knew exactly who was going to be.
And there were only 2 people who went under 500 last week, and that was Ray Trail and Tony Iruli.
Coaches.
And the coaches. So show you how much they know about football, right? They know nothing. Squat diddly.
I did get Michigan.
Is that a new band, Squat Diddly?
Squat Diddly.
Yeah.
And so we are going to start with a very fascinating game. Mike knows all these games already. He's been in his man cave. He's been pacing around trying to figure some of these out. We got Toledo versus Ohio in Detroit. That is the MAC championship game, the Mid-Atlantic championship game. Toledo versus Ohio in Ford Field in Detroit. Toledo is a 3.5-point favorite as of right now, Mike. 3.5.
3.5.
How you feeling?
Would you rather have a stock car race in Detroit or Chicago? Okay.
I think that's what we should do.
I'm going to pick this game. I'm going to pick Ohio.
Any reason why? You like the color green.
Well, they're probably the #1 team in Ohio right now. If Ohio State doesn't go to playoffs, I don't know.
All right, Ray Trail. What do you know about these 2 teams?
Nothing.
I've watched them play.
Okay. So you might have
I'm gonna go with Ohio too.
You're going with Ohio. Donnie Moore.
Where's the game played?
It's in Detroit.
They're
It's
both
at Ford
Ohio.
Field. That's right.
It's a
At
neutral
Ford
site.
Field.
They're both Ohio schools.
Yeah, they are.
If they escape without being shot.
Let's go with the Rockets.
Going with Toledo. Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Such tough choices. Does
They
Shelter
are.
Insurance have a policy that covers me on this?
No, they don't.
Okay.
They do not.
Then I think I'm going to go Toledo.
Toledo. Tony Iruli.
The first head coaching job by Nick Saban was at the University of Toledo. All right, so Toledo it is.
If Tony's picking Toledo, then I'm picking Ohio.
Rocket Man.
Wow.
Plus Jamie Farr.
Just as simple as that. If Tony's picking Toledo, I'm picking Ohio.
Yeah, but he had a Mud Hens
Yeah, Mud Hen. Toledo Mud Hen.
jersey.
All right.
That's their minor league baseball team.
The next one is even harder. And I like this one a lot
gosh.
more. The Sun Belt Championship game played
Yes.
today.
Come
We
on,
got
Troy.
the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers and that beautiful, beautiful teal at Troy. Troy, Alabama.
Yes,
The
yes.
Trojans are a 7-point favorite today.
The Trojans are Troy.
The Trojans of
Yeah,
Troy.
Trojans of Troy.
I'll take Troy. They're at home, and they're playing real well right now. Coastal Carolina's been struggling a little bit.
They have.
Okay, Ray.
What's the line again?
Troy is 7.
7.
Come down a little
At
bit.
Troy.
At Troy, yeah.
It
The
was
Sun
8.
Belt doesn't have enough money to get a neutral site field for their
Yeah,
championship
well,
game.
was
I'll
8.5.
take Troy. I'll take the home team.
Donnie,
Coastal's not been playing well, so unless they change things around, I'm going to take Troy as well.
Marcus. Everybody loves Troy.
That's right.
Who doesn't?
No, they really don't. And my only problem is Coastal is just not. They haven't been playing well at all.
What's his name?
You want-
Chanticleers. What?
The Chanticleers is a chicken.
Roosters.
You know what? I'm not.
Roosters.
I'm not in the running for this title. Give me Coastal. I just can't. I'm not going there.
Marcus, you are so an
Tony.
underdog.
Troy is named after one of the best products ever, the Trojans. All right, so.
I thought it was named after the Iliad, but okay, we'll go there.
So Troy, no doubt about it.
Oh my Lord!
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I put this game on here. I haven't watched a minute of any of these two teams play, so I got no idea who to pick. But my guy Mason Shelton, Maryville alum, plays for the Chanticleers. My guy Mason Shelton gets it done today. I'm going with Coastal Carolina.
There you go.
So you like the Trojan stuff?
All right, we're gonna start
He
going.
doesn't.
We're gonna now go to some teams that everybody knows. Okay, I'm sorry that was fun. I wanted to make it a little bit more difficult. Number 22 UCF at number 18 Tulane in the American Championship game. The winner of this game advances to the Cotton Bowl. Tulane is a 4-point favorite.
And they're playing in New Orleans.
They're playing in New
They're
Orleans.
playing in New
The
Orleans.
Green Wave.
And everybody here in Knoxville, if Tennessee goes to the Cotton Bowl, is cheering for the Green Wave. So I'm going to take Tulane.
You don't want to play UCF?
No.
You don't want to worry about Josh Heupel maybe laying down his sword for his old team, Danny White?
I don't want to put any pressure on Josh Heupel. The man's had enough.
Okay, Ray Trail, Tulane or UCF?
What's the line?
Tulane's a 4-point favorite.
Tulane.
Tulane. Donnie Moore.
Well, since I have been past the campus of Tulane University when I visited Archie and Olivia, no, I didn't visit them. I was by their house. No, I'm going to take Tulane as well.
Tulane, the Green Wave. Marcus.
I'm going to not be contrary, but I'm going to go with UCF. If the point spread is only 4, which is basically a home game for Tulane. I'm going to give UCF a better chance.
That's basically a pick.
Tony?
Game,
In 1979, Maryville College played UCF. Lost to them by 7 points down at UCF when they were still Division III. We had 200 yards of penalties called against us, against their 15 yards of penalties, and they won. So, without a doubt, I am not pulling for UCF. Still mad about that.
There you
So
go,
we're
Tony.
going Tulaners.
Nice
Some of the reasoning that Tony picks for picking, I could see why he went 1-3 last week. The ghost of that game aren't coming to play, Tony. This is 2022. None of those guys are suiting up again.
Okay.
I'm going with UCF. UCF beat them.
You just want to go against me.
No, UCF beat them in the regular season. They've shown that they can beat them. Going with the Golden Knights. I think the Golden Knights still got some of that Josh Heupel offense in their bloodstream. They scored enough points to beat Tulane today and win the American and go to the Cotton Bowl.
Tony holds a grudge.
Yeah, it's just hard to walk away from it. It really is.
This line is dropping ridiculously. Number 10 Kansas State is playing number 3 TCU in Dallas and Jerry World today. TCU now a 1-point favorite. I think opened at 3, 2.5. It's now 1. Vegas is starting to think that the Wildcats might get it done tonight. Mike, what about you?
I like Kansas State in this one. They were ahead 38-20 in their first meeting. Their quarterback got hurt. This Kansas State team has a tremendous balance on offense and defense. They match up extremely well against TCU. So I'm taking Kansas State today to upset TCU and put a little pressure on the college playoff committee.
Ray.
Hello?
He's thinking He's thinking deeply.
my God.
I've seen this face on him
You
before.
can hear the little hamster turning the wheel.
I heard the.
Well, he likes the horny
squeak.
frogs.
I'm going with TCU.
The horny frogs.
Donnie Moore.
Horny frogs.
I told you earlier that the frogs are going to get their horns docked.
But you did.
I'm taking
Kansas
State.
Marcus.
That team has burned me so many times this year. I'm just going to go with them at this point. I give up. TCU's going to win this.
Tony.
TCU, they'll find a way to pull it out at the very end.
I think
They have so many times, haven't they?
There's two ways to look at this. Like you said, Mike, there's a lot of pressure on TCU today. Fair or not fair, the national narrative is if they lose today, they're out. They have something to play for. Whether they choose to believe that or not, I don't know. But something about them just kind of feels team of destiny-ish to me. Like they've played so many close games. They've proven they know how to win close games. I think today is another close game, and I think they get it done again.
Good, you're agreeing with me. Congratulations. About time.
And the other side of that is they've played so many close
They're due.
games that the law of averages have caught up with them, and this is it.
It's true.
Yep.
And the last one, the SEC championship game. Number 14 LSU versus number 1 Georgia in Atlanta. And Georgia is a 17.5-point favorite against the Tigres of Baton Rouge.
Georgia plays to the competition. They played to the competition all year long.
Last 5 weeks, really.
I'm taking LSU in the points today.
Ray. Georgia said, Ray says you're wrong, Mike. He likes Georgia in a rout.
Well, he didn't get any right last week, so I feel comfortable.
Donnie.
Georgia's going to win the football game, but I'm going to take LSU in the points. I'm going to be like Mike. I agree with Mike in this instance.
Marcus.
I just got a feeling Georgia's going to show today, so I think they're going to cover.
Tony.
Same thing, Georgia.
Man, this one's tough. Mike's right. The last 5 or so weeks, Georgia's just messed around, twiddled their thumbs, played within 10 or so points of everybody they've played. They've got no pressure on them today. They're in. They don't care if they win, they lose. But I'm with Marcus. Something just tells me they show up today.
Who?
Georgia. Something tells me they just show up today and they take care of business the way they're supposed to. And
I just have a feeling that LSU is going to smack them a little bit and wake the sleeping giant.
They might do it.
You never know. It is officially over. The United States has lost to the Netherlands, and now we can all stop caring about the World Cup.
Pack their bags.
Did they play today?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to mention one other game that we don't have on here, and that's Purdue and Michigan in Indianapolis.
It has to bring up an Indiana
Purdue and
team.
Michigan in Indianapolis.
Like they're going to lose by 40.
And I think Michigan's about a 17.5-point favorite.
Should be
Their
more.
fine running back Corum's not going to play today.
No, he's not.
Didn't play last week.
Jeff Brom.
We can play
I want
right
to
there.
bring this out. Jeff Brom, the head coach at Purdue, is 3-0 against top 5 ranked teams in the country. And Purdue, the last time they played Michigan and Ann Arbor, that was a 14-10 game at the half. So you better watch the spoiler makers today, not the Boilermakers.
Spoilermakers.
The Purdue
Yep.
spoiler
What are they
makers.
spoiling? Michigan's in
Spoiler
regardless.
Well, yeah.
Michigan got nothing to play for. They're going to just pound the heck out of them. Who cares?
Well, what about ACC championship?
Nobody cares about that one. That's a team of 2 losers. Nobody cares.
That's exactly why we had Toledo
Well,
and
yeah,
Ohio
I
and
was gonna say
Coastal Carolina and Troy on here.
Donnie's got something more important.
We got it.
Donnie's got more important than Dabo Sweeney playing against the poor North Carolina team.
Remember to stop by Mary Blunt Elementary School next Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. to get your milk and cookies with Santa Claus. Children can stroll down Candy Lane, purchase their gifts for Mom and Dad at Santa's General Store. $10 a child or $25 for a family of 4. All proceeds go to the Blount County School Nutrition Association for feeding our kids. That's next Saturday from 11 to 3 at Mary Blunt Elementary School, 131 South Old Glory
We should
Road.
have Santa Claus on the sports page.
We should.
Nah, I'm cool.
Yep. Late breaking news. Looks like Deion Sanders might be going to Colorado.
Yeah. I
Mike?
heard that one. Yeah. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael at Loud Media, our hosts, the Blue Tick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore, Ray Trail, Marcus Fitzsimmons, Troy Provo Aaron, and Brian Johnston of Go Tees. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sport.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the Goatee Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.